Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel and thanks for joining us for another episode of FPL Fix. There were some massive scores in Game Week 7, Mateta, Mukiele and Reece James just to name a few. So yeah, we're well back in the swing of things again now, and Game Week 9 kicks off tomorrow, so let's get straight into the action. My name's James and with me as always is Patrick.
Hi everyone and happy birthday James. In this episode we'll be covering the most transferred players, top players to target and finishing off with our team reveals. Let's start off with a quick recap of how our teams did last week. Why don't you kick things off, James?
Okay, I scored 77 points and beat my safety score by 12. At the back, my double Burnley defence smashed it and they returned 17 points between the pair. The Spurs double up was nowhere near as effective though, but Gabriel was as consistent as ever with 12 points. In midfield, Semenyo picked up an assist, Gakpo scored and even my auto sub Morgan Rogers got on the score sheet. Up front, and Haaland smashed it again, but the impact isn't massive because of his ownership now. A decent green arrow, and just outside the top 1 million now, so I'm happy with the outcome really. How did your wildcard go, mate?
Well, the last thing you want when you use a chip is a red arrow, but that's exactly what I got, so I'm a little bit gutted to be honest. I had returns from Raya, Guehi, Semenyo, Saka and Captain Haaland, but the rest really let me down. Diouf being benched for the Monday kickoff summed it all up. I took a red arrow, but the rest of the team is set up really nicely, so let's move on and look ahead to Game Week 8. We'll start with the most transferred players.
Looking at the most sold players first, and it's another week of João Pedro and Salah topping these charts. Neither have good form, and both players were dropped midweek in Europe, where both teams won comfortably and did better without them if anything.
Gyökeres is next, and I get the frustration, but I wouldn't be selling him if I was an owner to be honest. He'll be more confident after his brace midweek, and the Arsenal team will keep sending chances his way.
Then it's Reindeers, and his minutes have dropped in City's last 4 matches. The fixtures aren't great at the moment either, but they do turn from Game Week 13. I think that's the next point, he could potentially be useful again.
Richarlison is next, and he's just not an option anymore. Since the new signings have started to slot into the team, Richarlison's minutes and appeal has dropped massively.
Now, looking at who's been transferred in, and over 500,000 managers have already signed Walter, his minutes are nailed and his transition to the Premier League has been seamless.
Mateta is next, and this is definitely a knee-jerk move. He scored a hat-trick last time out, but plays the best defence in the league next, so might be a week too soon to bring him in to be honest.
Next up is Haaland, and the only real surprising feature here is that there were still 300,000+ managers who didn't own him already.
We finish up the top 5 transfers in with 2 Arsenal players. Gabriel, who's in incredible form and would have scored 34 points if the match on Tuesday counted in FPL. Saka is the other. And with the form, fixtures and lack of decent premium options, I think is another great player to bring in.
So, that's the popular moves this week, but let's see if any of them are actually worth the transfer.
Looking at the teams to target for the next few weeks, we've got Arsenal at the top, Chelsea second, Newcastle third, and we've got West Ham making the list in 4th, even with the dodgy displays lately.
Yeah, definitely, and each of those teams have players worth targeting all over the pitch. Starting in goal, and Raya and Pope are still 2 of the best picks. Raya is the better of the 2, but costs a fair bit more and takes up a valuable Arsenal spot.
In defence there's quite a few options. With Arsenal you've got Gabriel, Timber and Calafiori in that order for me. For Chelsea you've got options like Chalobah, Cucurella and even Reece James now.
In midfield, Saka is the only viable premium option at the moment in my opinion, and he's clear at the top of the list. Outside of him, it's a bit more difficult though. Chelsea have a few great options. Neto looked unplayable last time out and could continue to flourish in Palmer's absence. Enzo and Caicedo are both potential options too though. They have different avenues to points but plenty of appeal if they're set to start.
In strike, Haaland is so far clear of the rest, he doesn't even need to be talked about. Walter is the next best. He's hit the ground running with Newcastle and should continue to capitalise on the minutes while Wissa is still sidelined.
Yeah, and even though he didn't deliver on Monday, I still put Bowen as next best with the fixtures he's got coming up. Budget shouldn't be an issue for managers at the moment, but Krupi Jr. could be a great pick if you do need that cheaper option. He's nearly matched Evan Nielsen's total points in 1 game week and should have the striker slot nailed while the Brazilian is injured.
There are quite a few good options at the moment in all price categories, which makes it easier to build a solid squad now. And speaking of solid squads, let's move on to the team reveals. James, why don't you start?
Well, I'm lining up with a 4-3-3 again this week, and I've gone with the exact same back 5 as last time, which means I'm riding with double Burnley again. Sounds crazy, but they did smash it last time, and I'm hoping they can keep a blunt Wolves team out this week. Double Spurs against Everton, who seem to be slowing down in front of goal, and then the legend that is Gabriel to finish things off. Moving up the pitch, and this is where changes have happened. Semenyo and Gakpo start, given their recent form, but Saka has now replaced Rodgers and goes straight into the starting 11. My three at the front this week is Haaland versus Villa, Bowen away to Leeds, and another new signing, Walter Marder, up against Fulham. Haaland's got the armband at the moment, but there is a chance that Saka takes the captaincy spot instead. I'll make a late decision on that one. So I've taken a hit for the first time this season, with Rodgers and Evan Nielsen to Saka and Walter Marder. That wasn't the original plan, but with the injury to Evan Nielsen and exact money in the bank to make the double change, I'm really happy with the improvements to the team. How's your team lining up, mate? Are you still planning on using the bench boost this week?
My starting 11 and bench were looked really strong for this week, but the injury to Anderson has made things tricky, so my team will be fluid until the deadline. As it stands though, the chip isn't active yet, so Raya starts in goal. I'm going with Guehi despite the fixtures because of his solid attacking form lately. Van der Ven against Everton and Diouf away to Leeds, who could be great if he managed to start this time. My midfield looks really strong with a full 5 starting. Kudos plays away to Everton, but all the others have nice home fixtures. Gordon, Semenyo, Saka and Enzo, so I'm really quite confident there. In strike I'm starting Bowen and Haaland, who both play away but have decent fixtures, and Haaland will be my captain again this week. My bench looks really strong this week, and a bench boost would be ideal, but if I do play I will have to deal with Anderson, so I'm still undecided on what to do. Let me know in the comments whether you activate the chip or not if you're my team.
And that's all from us this week. Give the video a like if you enjoyed it or found it useful, and subscribe to the channel to see all the latest from us.
Yeah, and you can follow us on X at Weekend Fix for tips and advice right up to the deadline tomorrow.
Thanks for watching, good luck this weekend, and we'll see you next time.